So, hi everyone, I am Lizzie. I am an artist at Art Smart Academy. I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about ceramics. My primary mediums are ceramics and painting. So we're going to talk about my jam a little bit today. And to do that, we are going to talk about centering and building a cylinder on the clay wheel. So to first do that, you want to have a clay ball and you want to have it rolled into about as perfect like softball shape as you can make it. And then you're going to take it as close to the center of the wheel as you can guess with your hands, and you're going to give it a pop, pancake it just a little bit, and make sure it's secure. If it's not secure, it might fly and hit a friend, and we don't want that. So then our next step that we're going to do is we turn our wheel on full speed, take a sponge and wet it in our hands a bit. And we're going to place one hand in a Karate Kid style on top and another hand, wet hand, around the side of the clay, kind of pressing in and pressing down at the same time with your hand. So you want your top hand to press down and flatten and your side hand to pull in. And you always want your hands to stay at least a bit moist. This process that I'm starting here is called coning. And coning is when you switch your hand position so that your enforcing hand moves up and your karate hand moves down to like high five it a bit, and you're going to push in together and pull up a bit. So it's going to create a little bit of a mountain in the center. And what this does is it further pulls the clay into the center of the wheel to make sure that any cylinder you make is going to have nice even walls and edges. And you're not going to have it pull to one side or the other. Really, the way you feel center is when you hold your hand to the side of the ball of clay. You want to make sure it's not fighting your hand. If you feel it pushing your hand like this motion, then it's still out of center a bit. And so you want to just repeat this process until you feel that kind of smooth motion of just spinning in the center. And this, for some people, can take longer than others. Centering is not an exact science. It's one that involves mostly muscle memory. A lot of repetition here. So then once we have our piece centered, or as close to centered as we believe, what we're going to do is we're going to take our thumb with our speed still at full speed. We're going to press one thumb into the center of the clay, kind of create that divot. And still keeping our hands wet and the clay wet to avoid friction, we're just going to take that down. You don't want to hit the very bottom of the clay or else you'll poke a hole through the bottom of your cup. So we're going to take that down, deep, maybe leave a few, maybe a ½ inch or less of space at the bottom of your clay, and you'll be able to feel that with your fingers on the outside and inside. Once you have your hole, we're going to knock our speed back to half. And we're going to take our thumb and hook it and pull it towards our hand. We're just kind of walking out that edge there, creating the very bottom of our cylinder form. And so through this, you're going to kind of give a blueprint for how wide your piece will need to be, how much liquid or solid it could hold. We're just going to pull towards your hand a little bit. This hand will just be to kind of steady your thumb. And once you have it about as wide as you feel like you'd like, for a mug you want a nice wide base and a slightly narrower top. For a tumbler, you're going to want a more narrow bottom and a wider top. So next we're going to focus on wall pulling, and we're going to keep on this medium speed, this medium to low speed. And for some people it helps to have the sponge. It's been squeezed out a bit to be on your outside, and we're going to take our hands like this, and we're going to kind of at the same rate, you want to very slowly start to pull up with your walls. And you want more pressure coming from the outside on your sponge hand than the inside to keep it straight. Because the force of it spinning is going to try and make your walls nice and wide and open, which is really good if you're making a bowl, less so if you're making a cylinder. Next, if you're worried that your walls have gotten a little bit too much of a V, or if you have like some odd bumps that you'd like to get out, you can take the middle finger on the inside of the rim and a rib tool, a wooden rib tool with a flat edge along the outside, and gently kind of press those together. You don't want to gouge the clay, you just want to kind of guide it back a little bit. And at this point you may notice, as your walls, or if you have the height that you're looking for and the shape that you're looking for on the outside, that your rim may look a little wobbly. So to fix that wobble, what we're going to do is you take a needle tool and you back your speed off. You want it just to kind of turn a little bit, but not much. About there is a good speed. And you're going to take and you're going to meet the tip of your finger with your needle tool and very gently cut off that edge, which gives us a nice even edge to work from that you can then use your sponge to clean up nice and round it off. Also, from this speed, what we can do is trim the bottom of ours a bit. So I'm going to take a wooden knife tool and I'm going to, at a 45-degree angle, pierce the bottom, kind of scrape in a little bit, just to kind of give a nice base that I can grip when I pull the piece off of the wheel. So once we have that, we are now ready to take our piece off of the wheel. And so to do that, you don't ever want to just try and pick it up because it's still suction cupped to the wheel head. The way you remove it is you're going to take a wire tool and you're going to place it flat to the wheel head and you're just going to slide it underneath. And what that does is that breaks the seal on the bottom and gives you a nice flat edge so that you're not going to set it down on a table and it'll wobble to one side or the other. So the next step in removing it from the wheel head is you take your sponge and you put just a little bit of moisture near the bottom edge. You're going to take your fingers on either side of it and you're just going to kind of twist lightly. And once it hits that water you've prepped, it'll slide right off. And once this is a little bit firmer, a little bit drier, we'll be able to take trimming tools and we'll be able to trim our bottom up really nicely, carve into it if we'd like, and even create a hole for a nice planter cylinder. We can put that with our other one over here and we'll wrap those up to preserve them. Thank you guys so much for throwing with me today. If you're interested in learning the next steps of this process or in learning more just about wheel throwing in general, and many other art forms that we offer at Art Smart Academy, please like and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thank you.